Hello everyone, this is Father the Everchosen, back in Total War Warhammer 2, bringing you another quick battle, pitting my Beastmen against my opponent's Dark Elves. So taking a quick look at my opponent's army, he's got two Harpies, two War Hydras, one of which is the Chill of Sontar, the ROR War Hydra. He has 5 units of Black Ark Corsairs, the Helleburnai ROR Dread Spear unit, 2 Masters, and Morathi on foot. Morathi is bringing Soul Blight, Pit of Shades, and Soul Stealer. She also has Heartrender and the Dark Sword and her Enchanting Beauty ability. So quickly turning around and taking a peek at my army real quick. I've got 2 Razor Gore herds here, each with a single chevron on them. I have the Eye of Morghur ROR Cygor. I have 2 units of Ungor Spearman herd, 2 units of Gore herd with shields, and the Blackhorn Ravagers, the Gore herd with shield ROR. I also have 2 Bestigor herds, along with Morghur bringing his full complement. So he has his Stave of Ruinous Corruption, Call of Violence, and the Spirit Essence of Chaos. I also have a Bray Shaman of the Wilds, bringing Vile Tide and Savage Dominion. And hidden here in the woods, I've got 2 Centaurs with throwing axes. So as we jump in here, I notice that my opponent's army is deployed off to the side. So I start moving people around. I get the Eye of Morghur to start targeting these Black Ark Corsairs, getting 25 kills in that first throw, hitting 2 units. I start to reposition my units here to try to take advantage of this slightly higher ground. Razor Gores are kind of looping around, but this Cygor, went from 25, now it's up at 41. It is doing quite a bit of damage. I get the Cygor summon from Savage Dominion up so that I can start peppering them while they still have big blocks of infantry. 41 going up to 53, hitting a new unit now. And my opponent's army is already starting to take quite a bit of damage. Next Cygor ends up getting 5 kills here. I've got the Razor Gores all the way back in the back now, slowing it down just a little bit. The Eye of Morghur is now surrounded by all these Harpies, but the Eye of Morghur should be relatively fine here. What's worrying is the War Hydra and the Chill of Sontar, but I do have these 2 Centaurs, one of which I had sent farther through the woods just to make sure that my opponent did not have anything else hidden in the woods. So they're going to be looping back around, and my Razor Gores are now positioned directly behind my opponent. So slowly but surely, we're getting spells going off. We've got the Cygor still throwing stones. This War Hydra ends up trying to get these Bestigors, only gets 2 on it because they were still moving and they're on a kind of awkward elevation. Sometimes that elevation really does matter. I get Morghur in here, engaged. The Chill of Sontar ends up hitting this other Bestigor herd, doing quite a bit more damage, and a Soul Blight is now in effect in the area, lowering the base weapon damage and armor by 30 each. I've got my Bray Shaman of the Wilds coming over here to help the Eye of Morghur. Gonna lay down a nasty Vile Tide here. All these Harpies engaged, and taking these Harpies from 42 and 36 unit models, blowing them all apart. Still pretty high on the second Harpy, but this other Harpy is now much lower. So now my front lines are all engaged. Morghur and these Gore herds are taking on probably the weakest unit of Black Ark Corsairs left. Ungor Spearman herd taking on these Black Ark Corsairs. Blackhorn Ravagers taking on this very healthy Black Ark Corsair. But other than that, the rest of my infantry is trying to mop up these last 2 Black Ark Corsairs and start pinning down the War Hydra. Cygor up here is up at 20 kills. My Razor Gores are they got into a little bit of a fight back here. Or no, they haven't actually engaged yet. I didn't pull them up fast enough. So they're coming in now. I've got my throwing axes right back here. Another nice hit by my Cygor summon. 35 kills now. I have more slibs up at 66. Still engaged with these harpies. And these war pigs get clipped a little. Unfortunately, my Chaos Spawn summon pops up and gets blasted with a rock, a nice big rock from this Cygor, damaging it heavily when I was targeting these Helleburnai. But I've got the Razor Gores about to hit in the back. These throwing axes are going to engage the Chill of Sontar, and the Razor Gore herd is charging into the back of these units. So we've also got the Bestigors and the Bray Shaman engaged here with the Blackheart Corsairs. The Masters and Morathi are both in here. My Cygor summon does end up dying, I think picking up right around 40 kills, but now their infantry is almost all dead, so I will be able to engage fully their 3 heroes and these 2 big war hydras. I have more slib, still trying to tangle with these harpies, but now finally getting free. Trying to keep this Bray Shaman alive so that I can get that next summon out. But at this point, their units, their main infantry have all gone away. I'm just trying to keep anything that is routing gone. And at this point, we're just all kind of going to surround things like the Chill of Sontar, which I had hit with the Warp Gaze and the like. I have more slip up at 80 kills, but it's being engaged by the War Hydra, Morathi, and these 2 Masters. It's not looking good for it. I've got my Razor Gore herds going to chase down these Blackheart Corsairs, and this Razor Gore is going to chase down these. Like I said, just to keep everything gone, then we can just focus on what is left here in the center. The I Have More Slip does go down with 80 kills. A good effort. At this point, I think, maybe not just yet, but here in a moment, I will notice that at this point, I don't need to have them, my Centaurs with throwing axes, on guard mode. With putting them on guard mode, a lot of the time they're throwing at their maximum range, and they're not ever pursuing, so I'm having to keep issuing them orders. And once I turn that off, they start melting these big hydras. So at this point, they got their harpies over here on these Razor Gore herd. The Razor Gores will be fine. The rest of their infantry, save for these Blackheart Corsairs, are gone, and everything's just surrounded. Morathi ends up getting a very nice Pit of Shades in here, but I do issue an order to get my units out, hopefully sparing some of them, but not nearly early enough. It was a very good play by my opponent. Now I can re-pull in this Razor Gore. This other Razor Gore will come in momentarily. We've got Soul Stealer going down. My units are taking lots of damage, but now I get this Chaos Spawn in right after this Razor Gore charge. So everything's kind of boxed in here. Everything's surrounded. Leadership is quite low on the Chill of Sontar. And now I've got my Centaurs able to just focus fire on these big units. A lot of my infantry is broken and is retreating, but it will come back in a moment. I get my second Cygor summon coming up in just a moment, and it's going to just target these big units that are hard to miss. The Chill of Sontar now starting to die faster and faster. It's getting hit by these throwing axes. I think at this point I have turned off guard mode, and that's why you start to see it waver, and then eventually you will see it break as it's getting hit by these massive boulders and all these armor-piercing axes. Just keeping the Bray Shaman out of it for now in case I need him to do something like chase down a broken or routing unit, which this War Hydra does break, I end up pulling the Centaurs in closer because the Chill of Sontar breaks, and now I issue the command to my Brave Shaman to chase and keep this War Hydra going. I end up narrowly avoiding another Pit of Shades here, and then I issue an order for my Centaurs to at first just throw axes, but then actually physically attack in melee the Chill of Sontar, keeping it gone. And then we just pull in here, and we've got the two Masters and Morathi engaged with the rest of my army, and you know, the balance of power slowly but surely is shifting in my favor. Chill of Sontar and the War Hydra gone. At this point, I pull the rest of my infantry all together. You look at Morghur, he's still very healthy and still replenishing. Though this Cygor didn't get any kills, it's still plucking away at the Chill of Sontar, and my opponent eventually does admit defeat. I had fought him, I think, once or twice before this battle. He was a very kind opponent. I think I lost to him. No, I only played him twice. So I lost the first one and I won the second one. A good fight all around. I enjoyed playing him. He was gracious in victory and in defeat. So I thank him for a very fun and very good match. So looking at the end screen here, you know, my army did relatively good, even though the Centaurs got a low amount of kills. They're plucking away at the Chill of Sontar and the War Hydra. Really, I would say the unit that didn't perform as well as I wanted it to would have been one of these Bestigors. And I think this one would have been the one that got hit by that breath attack from the Chill of Sontar, taking out, I believe, around 8 to 10 unit models right off the bat. And then it just got singled out, and I think ultimately suffered most of its casualties then from the Pit of Shades. You know, looking at Morathi, 100 kills, doing very well across the board. The Helleburnai probably didn't perform as well as my opponent expected, and the Harpies, though they pinned down the Eye of Morslib, not before it got 80 kills, damaging heavily 3 different units of Blackguard Corsairs. So by the time, you know, Blackguard Corsairs should be able to easily handle Ungor Spearmen and be able to tie up Gore Herds with shields for quite a while, but by the time they had gotten there, many of their unit models had already been killed, and they had had to walk all that way, and slowly but surely lost some of that vigor. My units just got to stand around. The Brave Shaman doing pretty well, getting most of its kills from that Vile Tide on the Harpies, and getting the charge in, but as always, the Brave Shaman is really there for those 2 Savage Dominions. I was lucky enough to also get a Vile Tide in there. So I thank him for a very good fight. I lost just over half, one more than half of my troops. He lost almost all of his, but if the War Hydra and the Chill of Sontar hadn't been surrounded and broken, I think that could have gone his way. Once you can surround things, they start to take increased penalties from being attacked in the rear, their flanks not being secure, and especially having people like Morghur around and being harried by throwing axes and giant rocks. Your leadership just starts to tank. But if they could have gotten any more breath attacks off, this easily could have gone another way. The Beastmen are not known for their leadership. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fight. I enjoyed playing Eumenes, those 2 battles. So I thank you all. If you liked the video, please like it or leave a comment. And as always, I have been Father of the Everchosen.